Okay, good. So, welcome to another edition of the Azure Nigeria User Group event, monthly event. Last week, we talked about a different topic, administering visual machines. I don't know if two of you were there. And part of the series on how a cloud engineer could administer things or manage things, we'll be looking at monitoring. So looking at the visual machine we already administered or deployed last Saturday, how are you going to monitor it? How are you going to look at to understand if it's running good, if the health, if the health of the OS or the content is will run or will perform to the optimal as expected. So that's quite an interesting topic, which I personally like and will enjoy to talk all the time. So for those of you who doesn't know me, I'm one of the co-founders of the Azure Nigeria User Group. So monthly, we host events in Azure where we talk 70% of our discussions or learning uh, knowledge transfer is basically on Azure Cloud. And then at the same time, helping people with job seekers who have like Azure Cloud experience on how to get a job, tips, for instance, tips to pass an exam, or tips on how to which career path or technology path they can follow. For instance, I was speaking with somebody 2 days ago. He's interested in generative AI using Azure um, AI Studio as well as Copilot. So that's quite interesting. Yeah. I myself is also upskilling myself in generative AI. It's a lot of balls in that area. So without further ado, let's proceed. Um, for most of you who have not heard about Azure monitoring, so monitoring in general is just how we can oversee or look at or uh, get information about a resource. So in the cloud, we use the terminology cloud resource. So a resource could be a visual machine, it could be a storage account, it could be an application, it could be a microservices. So we use Azure Monitor and Azure Monitor toolkits to monitor how that resource is behaving, how we can manage it. That way we can manage it better and ensure uptime, so high availability. So if you put it in context, in an enterprise environment, you have critical application running. So Azure Monitor will help in making sure that the SLA is achieved, there's a continual uptime, and there's high performance of the resource in question. So the downside, if there's a downside or like the application fails, brings a catastrophic issues or problem for the company for such an application or system to fail down, affecting business, right? And that costs money and you lose clients. So today we'll be talking about looking at configuring Azure Monitor and then configuring Azure Alerts, as well as looking at log analytics. And log analytics is collects logs, information, metrics, all those kind of things. And we're going to look at a lab on implementing monitoring. So if any of you have any question, feel free to interrupt me, and then I can give an explanation and go in depth to answer your question. So somebody just joined in. Let me let him in. Yeah, Sunday. Sunday is back. Cool. Hmm? So we look, yeah. So under configuring Azure Monitor, so we'll be looking at the Azure Monitor key capabilities. We're gonna look at the components of it, as well as looking at metrics and logs. We're gonna look at data types, identifying it. Likewise, look at log events, so activities in the cloud or in the resource, as well as we're going to look at querying activity logs, and then we'll look at a summary and summary, and then look at the resource in question itself. So basically, in the key Azure Monitor capabilities are basically to visualize, to analyze, as well as to query, as well as how you could set up alerts and actions. So alert and action is like, okay, you want the information when something happens in the resource itself. So kind of you kind of use like a critical time alert, and also give you a notification. This notification can say, okay, I want this notification when something happens. You want a notification to be sent to your email, or you want SMS to be received, or you can also want that notification to be sent to the Teams, a Microsoft Teams channel. Then everybody will see what's going on the resource in question. So the query and analyze logs, basically it collects metrics as well as activities, and also kind of gives you kind of a diagnostic logs itself. So you will use logs to study the logs to understand what actually happened, and then we investigate that. Or you can just collect logs and just keep it and then process it whenever it's needed, for instance. Uh, uh, in terms of visualization metrics and monitoring, so metrics kind of a numerical values, which is a resource has and is available in a resource, and that is can help us to understand the health and operation as well as the performance of of a resource itself. Yeah, so these are basically the components of Azure Monitor. So we have, for instance, in between, we have like in a storage, we have like metrics and logs, and within that, metrics and logs, which are under a storage resource. So all these things, all these monitor components are under a resource, under a storage. So within that, we have like insights. So insight could be application insights, collect insights about an application, where you can use application insights, which is an Azure tool, as well as we have like container. For instance, you have AKS or container instances, or virtual machine, or monitoring solutions like Prometheus or Grafana, any other open source monitoring solutions uh, in the market. So next is like visualization. So, and the visualization comes in form of dashboards, views, Power BI, or workbook. So you could push these components, you could visualize in a dashboard format using like Power BI or workbooks, for instance. And then we have analyzing. So you have metrics. You could analyze the metrics, use a log analytics to analyze it. You also have like response. So response is like, okay, you have an alert that comes up. You need to look into it. You need to query it. For instance, a response could be in the form of auto scale. So for instance, if you look at a vision machine scale, so you have a vision machine, and the vision machine is part of a vision machine scale set. So for instance, when capabilities or compute is less needed, so vision machine can shut down a couple of vision machines, to self-cost. So that's kind of how you can respond. So it can shut down or shrink down or increase or add more VMs. So kind of elasticity ability. Also, we have like integration. So you could integrate with using Event Hub or Logic Apps, or you can use like APIs. So in looking at metrics and logs, so metrics can give you like information, say for instance, throughput of like a visual machine, the iOS of it. Like I said, metrics are just numerical values, which gives you kind of explanation on the aspect of a system at a given time. So likewise, logs are basically datas which are organized in records with kind of different sets and properties for each time. And that could be in form of telemetries. So like telemetry could be events or traces. Yeah. So data types, so we're looking at identifying data types. So we're looking at, for instance, uh, application monitoring data. So the ability of the application to perform, so the functionality of the code you have written, for instance, which is irrespective of which platform you're using. Also looking at operating system monitoring. So you have like in Azure or another cloud, we have like resource monitoring. Also, we are looking at, for instance, on subscription monitoring. So you have like you have a subscription which is part of a management group, as well as about the health and operation of the Azure itself, your workload itself. You also have like the tenants monitoring. So you have a tenant, you obviously have a tenant on Azure environment, operation information about the tenant as well as, for instance, Azure Active Directly or Entra ID. So activity log are just like, for instance, we have like application logs, we have diagnostic logs, and then we have like the operating system layer, and then we have the VM. So below on the infra level, we have like activity logs based on activity. So this activity could be on these layers of the infrastructure of the application. So from the application, the front end part, as well as the back end part of the application. And also we are looking at, for instance, in the resource part of things. So like diagnostic logs, as for instance, for non-compute resources. And for compute resources, we look at application logs, diagnostic logs, and then look at information about operating systems. So basically, this kind of a sample of an activity logs. So in this log, we could see that, for instance, at a given time, there was, for instance, operation that was succeeded on, for instance, how Gates workflow recommended operation groups. So, and that was succeeded. And there was a given time, there's a given time, say Thursday, March 12th. And above, we could see there's a failed activity, so which is create or update visual network subnet. So this failed as well. So all this information is collected. So you could filter by management group or by subscription or by timestamp or the event severity. And then you can understand and dig in, or you can also export it as well. So a bit of summary. We looked at we look at Azure Monitor. We'll look at, for instance, what is the action mode, what are the components of it. And the next slide, we'll go further on the topics of today. So we'll be looking at Azure Alerts, how to configure that. So like I said, alerts could come to your email. So you can say, for instance, when a visual machine, which you already configured an Azure Monitor on it, say when a visual machine is not responding anymore, or is down, or the health of it is it's not performing as expected, you want an alert to be sent to your email or to your SMS to understand, okay, hey, to let you know that this visual machine is not working or is not performing as it should be. So you can look at managing Azure Monitor alerts. We're going to create alert rules, look at action group, how to create that. So Azure Monitor alerts are basically, for instance, like I said, are like parameters you've set that categorizes information or the metrics for yourself based on severity. So severity, for instance, could be from low, medium, or high. So high meaning very critical. So you could say, okay, in the with the color red means if it's red means it's severe, highly severe. That means it's critical, and that means you need to act on that. And for low severity, you could give it a different color. So that means it's not all that critical, for instance. So in creating alert rules, so we need to consider the scope. So the scope is like, what is the criteria, the alert criteria, the logic, and what is the target selection. We look at also the alert rule details. So the name of the alert. So what do you want to collect? Look at the description as well as the severity, which you can map from 0 to 4. And then look at the action group. So the action group is like, okay, you want to send a notification to your team via email or text messages, or automate actions using webhooks or runbooks, for instance. So you could see in this blade. So the scope is a resource, and the condition, you have to state the condition. So condition could be if this, let's say a visual machine, if the cost utilization is over 90%, you want to, like, for instance, be aware of it. Or say if this visual machine is, if it's like 90% at a given time that is not being used, you want to be known so you can turn it down, because if you have a visual machine you already deployed and you're not using it, it's costing you money. So you need to turn it down. So this is an example on how to create, how to configure uh, action groups. So you can say, okay, for the notification, where do you want the notification to go? You could say the notification should go to, for instance, to an email, or you can get like a push notification, or you can go through a voice. You get like a voice message, and then the actions type. So the action type could be logic app, webhook, Azure function, or for instance, it could also be like ITSML. So you need to configure the method in which the actions are performed when the action group triggers. And then firstly, you need to like configure the method in which users will be notified when the action group triggers. Yeah. So with the blade, yeah, we looked at like how to create alert rule, explore alert targets, explore alert conditions, as well as explore alert details. I would log into my Azure accounts. Share my screen. Are you guys seeing the screen, right?
Yes. Yeah, I can see the screen.
Okay. So we have like Azure Monitoring. So we can like configure an Azure Monitoring, give it a name, and create it, for instance. And so we could say, for instance, this is my subscription account, and I need to specify a region where this monitoring should be set up. On which Azure data center would this monitoring be located? And then you have to give a name for the monitor, what you want to monitor, for which purpose, for instance. So in my case, I'm in North Europe, so that's I could also change it to any other region. Okay, let's say I would keep the information at ease, and then we can go to next review. Great. Okay, says I have to not be a subscription owner. So in this subscription, this is MVP subscription. I don't have an owner right on it. Let's try something else. Azure Monitor. We're creating Azure Monitor workspace. So I would choose a resource group. I have a Visual Studio Enterprise license. I would say, okay, the Azure Monitor workspace instance will be say ANUG monitor. And I want it to be in North Europe. Next, network access, network connectivity. Enable public access from all networks. or disable public access and use private access. So I would choose for disable public access. And it asks if you have like in an enterprise environment, since you don't want public access, so that means you're using a private endpoint. So private endpoint, within that, there's a private IPs and stuff like that. So I don't have any. I didn't configure any. Yeah, so I will leave that open. So I say review and create. So we'll wait, let the creation finish, then we proceed further. Okay. So the creation is successful. So the validation is successful. So we look at create, go further to create. Then the creation has been initialized and deployment is in progress. So let's go back to the slide. We'll go back to the deployment later. In the demonstration on creating alert rules. So first, you configure log analytics before you get to creating the alert rules. First, you need to configure a log analytics. You determining kind of the log analytics, what you want to use it for. Create a workspace. So currently I'm creating a workspace. That's what we already deployed. Then when you create the workspace, you can query the workspace if you have data. So data from the virtual machine or data from any application or Kubernetes AKS or storage account, for instance. Or then you can like look at structural log analytics queries as well. So then in determining log analytics uses, so you can say, okay, you want to collect logs, right? So under monitoring, you want to collect logs. And for these logs, it will help you to collect and analyze data, which a resource generates. So for instance, a virtual machine generated a storage account in your cloud environment or on-premises environments. So you could also use logs in on-prem environment, not just the cloud environment. Then you write log queries and interactively analyze their results. So the result query could be, for instance, alert management. If you want to look at anti-malware, application insights, also you want to look at the device health in production, all this kind of information you want to collect. So example includes, for instance, assessing the system updates and troubleshooting operational incidents. So like I showed you earlier, this is how to create a workspace. So we already created a workspace. You input your subscription. So in a tenant, you could have more than one subscription. You choose what subscription you want to use. So in the enterprise environment, we typically have 4 subscriptions. So first is the development environment subscription. The next is the test subscription for testing purposes. acceptance subscription, and then the production subscription. So you build from the dev up to the tests, and then to the acceptance, and then to the production subscription. That's the enterprise way of doing things. Most organizations, they just have like uh, dev, dev, and dev and prod, or they have like dev, or they have testing and then production. And within different subscriptions, you apply policies that guides what needs to happen in such a subscription. So often in a production subscription, that's where you apply all the security policy, higher security policies to guide, because it's a fragile environment. So security policy could be to govern identity and access management, what user who has access, RBAC, role-based access control, uh, infrastructure as code. Any deployment should go to infrastructure as code, for instance. No deploying of things with from the Azure portal. Security policies, for instance. Yeah, you apply it at the highest level there. So in log analytics, so you put in the data from the log analytics. So let's say we already gotten the data, and then we want to query data in terms of application itself. So you can go down on the queries. So you want to query application. You want to look at information that happened with, say, like the last 12 hours in the, say, a visual machine or the application, a web app. And you have to now query it, and it gives you information about that. So you can quickly retrieve and consolidate the data in a repository, or you could save or have log searches run automatically to create an alert. You don't need to do anything; it's fully automated. And at the end of the day, you want this alert or this if data or this information to be sent or to be exported to be used by other teams or individuals on a Power BI or Excel, or you can use Tableau for visualization purposes. So, and you can share it to your team, or you can share it to your management, your manager, about what's going on. Alerts could also be, say, for instance, how uptime is the application. So these are like kind of alerts you want to collect. So the application alerts you want to go about audit, Azure Monitor, Azure Resource, the visual desktop, containers, database, desktop analytics, all these kind of things. There's some all these criteria you can query on. So under structured query analytics, so for instance, we have in Windows environments, we have the Windows event logs. So it collects events, and then you can query on these events. And then on the Linux environment, we have the syslog. So I don't know you guys are familiar about syslog. So in Windows, we have the Windows event logs, and the Linux OS, we have the syslog. And then you could say, okay, in the event, you want to like event name, errors, or you give a separate level. Then you could check the heartbeat. So as an agent in the OS or the application, where that triggers this collection of information. So you can say summarize count, say give any value you want, and then on a computer, and then you can configure the alert. The alert. So you could query this or try this on your own time. In the interest of time, I want to have this event for maximum 1 hour to save time. So let's just join in wisdom. So in summary, we looked at how to create log analytics. We looked at how to set up alert rules. We looked at where you could write a crystal query language, for instance. This is a crystal query language. It's a kind of a command we use to query within the Azure Monitor to collect metrics or to interact with informations or the logs that was collected by Azure Monitor, so collected by the log analytics. And you can also use you can use the Query Explorer within Azure to query to apply the yes.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. CJ. Thank you for this wonderful presentation. So when I saw the flyers online, I saw 12 p.m. But on joining now, I can see that it's like you have gone far. Is it that we're supposed to join 11?
Yes, because I use the Dutch time, right? So on Meetup, I use the Dutch time because I'm 1 hour ahead of you guys in Nigeria. So so I use the Dutch time. So there's a 1 hour gap. So you guys need to use the time.
Oh, okay. Because in the flyer it was 12 p.m. West African time.
Yes,
so
yes.
It's 12. I didn't know that it was 11. I've really missed it.
Yes, but it's recording. We're recording it. No problem.
Where can I get recording, sir?
You can get it like after I end this conversation. Normally, when recording is on now, at the end of the Teams call, recording will upload, and all the individuals that joined will see the recording. So what I do, I upload the recording and also upload it on the YouTube channel, and then share it back to the WhatsApp groups.
Okay, so please drop the YouTube channel because I'm not yet in the WhatsApp group. I dropped my number last time, but I wasn't added to any group.
Oh, sorry. You can drop. I'll do that. Sure, no worries. Yeah.
Oh,
cool. So so the lab is to implement monitoring. So the first task, so this is something you could do on your own. So you can use my slide, this slide, PowerPoint slide, which I will provide. So first is to provision your environment, task 1. So provision environment means you create, for instance, a storage account or you create a virtual machine, and then you need to now set up your log analytics, create a log analytics. So that's task 2. So you create a log analytic workspace, and then you create an Azure automation-based solution. And then task 3 will be you look at you will review the default monitoring settings of the Azure virtual machine. So task 3 relates back to task 1. So task 1 is like, okay, you provision your lab environment. So it means you provision a resource. In this case, you provision a virtual machine. Then task 4, you configure Azure virtual machine diagnosis settings. So within the diagnosis settings of the virtual machine, that's where the monitoring things comes up. So you now, task 5, you review the Azure Monitor functionality. So functionality could be logs, metrics, or any other offering there. Then task 6 is you can review the Azure Log Analytics functionality. So the next is just the architecture. So the architecture is basically from a design point of view or visualization point of view, what they're trying to achieve. So you have task 1, prepare your environment means you have a resource group. So you create a resource group. Sorry, you create a resource group, you create a VNet, 10.0, so a private VNet, and then you create your subnet from the VNet. and then task 4, 5 are within the virtual machine. So task 1 is to prepare the environment, so create all those resources. Then task 2 is to use the cloud shell. And then task 3 is to create a resource group. Then task 4 is to create the configure the subnets. So how inside the VisualNet, configure the subnet of the visual machine. And likewise, task 5. So task 4 or 5 is configure the visual machine diagnostic settings. Somebody's joining in. And task 5 is review Azure Monitor functionality. And then task 6 is to review the Azure Log Analytics functionality, which is this, the Azure Monitor. So, and then you set up your alert rules inside it. And then task 7 is the Log Analytics workspace and automation accounts. So, that's this. Yeah, you set up the Log Analytics workspace, and it's a kind of a playbook, and then the automation accounts. And that basically it. So I would drop the slide deck, this slide on the chart, so you could use it and download it and go through it on your own time, and then practice it the lab on your own time. So if you don't have like an Azure account, you can also have the spin up a sandbox, Microsoft Sandbox, and then play around with it. Yeah, if there's any question, let me know. Any questions? So are you guys currently working on Azure environment or new to Azure? Oyema, okay? Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. So I just want to ask a question, sir. So my question is, let's take Paraventure now. I create a log analytic workspace so that I'll be storing my logs in the log analytic workplace. Then I now want to use Azure Monitor to actually create device collection and endpoint collection. So please, can you, since I didn't join the meeting on time, please, I just beg you, can you just throw more light in that area? How I can onboard my devices using Azure Monitor so that the logs from the event viewer, such as application logs and let's say those errors that come out, so that I can analyze it. Can you just touch it a bit so that at least I can have good understanding?
Okay, let me give it a try. Okay.
Okay. Hello.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Good day.
Good day. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Okay. My question is this. The lab that you share with us. Are we going to practice it here, or we should go and do it on our own?
On your own time. On your own time. So.
Okay. And then actually, my concern is this. I noticed that it's the same lab in the Microsoft Learn.
Yes.
under the monitoring, and then there is a demo that they did, like a lab that they but when I was following it, I lost. I will not lie to you, but I was successfully done it when I watched YouTube, different YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then if you can remember my last week question, I believe here we are here to learn.
Yeah.
Yes, I will suggest, it's just a suggestion, and then I noticed that we are the same set of people that we attended last week, if I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a few people just join us, like that lab, all those labs. If we can be doing it here,
Mm-hmm.
I believe it will better. And then secondly, when I joined this morning, I met you talking about the time difference, because when I joined, I noticed that you have gone far.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. Is it the time that is on the time that you set for the meeting? Is it for the West African time?
Yes.
The GMT,
Yes. Yeah.
but I joined by 12. I don't know.
Yeah. So
Maybe
the problem is that, right, the meetup time on the meetup website uses West African time. There's no what do you call it, Nigerian time, right? So what I
yeah.
observed that the West African time doesn't correlate with Nigerian time. Also, in Teams call, so I planned an event on Team, like on Meetup, and then on Teams, MS Team, when you're planning an event, a meeting, right? The
Okay.
time, the time there doesn't have a West African time. It just have Amsterdam time. So I use Amsterdam time, which is 1 hour ahead of Nigerian time, which is different from West African time, right?
Okay.
So
It means that they use GMT, not GMT
yes,
plus one.
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes,
Oh,
yeah. So
okay. It means that by next week now we need to join by 11 a.m. Nigeria
yes,
time.
yes, yes. So
Oh,
that's the problem. So I already know how to solve that problem. So I noticed.
oh. Because last week too, I noticed the same thing, but I said maybe you are rushing or you don't want. So likewise today, but no problem. We will put that one in mind.
Yeah.
That's at 11 a.m. Nigeria time. Okay, but better still, if when you want to in the scheduler, I mean, in the heading of this, you can be putting like a, GMT, so we can be converting it like
Yes.
me now. I'm working with a international company. I
Okay.
need to be converting their time with my time here,
Yeah.
either EMEA or AMS or APJ
Mm.
zone. So
Mm-mm.
maybe if you can be doing that, so that we can know that, oh, you are
Yes.
in GMT, I mean
Yes.
GMT plus one, and then you schedule the time in GMT, so that we know, and then
Yes.
it will be good for the other people too.
Yes. So what
Okay, and
what I
then back to my lab question, sir.
yeah.
Because that is the reason why I am joining this.
Okay. So
Mm.
which error was from that you couldn't follow? But you say you solved the problem on YouTube. Was it which particular was the problem?
You know that to set up monitoring, there is a lot of steps that you need to follow, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of settings, a lot of setup that you need to do. Like me, I don't have much issue on that one, but coming to training like this, I am expecting, like that's how they are doing in AWS group. This Azure for AWS,
Mm-hmm.
they will perform the lab
Uh-huh.
like this. Like now we are doing Azure monitoring.
Mm.
They will practicalize it. Even though after the training, we can continue watching the recorded video. Even though if we have issue, we can go back to the video and then we can look at it. So my suggestion is this, that let us be doing practical.
Okay. Yes.
Like
Yeah.
now, you know that for the monitoring, we will need to set some maybe alerts,
Yes.
either the SMS or email. We need
Yes.
to go from beginning to the end,
Yes.
so that it will be. So that's my advice, sir. I don't know.
Yes, you're right. You know why? One, often when you plan an event, people will not show up, and the speaker have other things to do. Right? This is my weekend. I have other things to do. Right? So if you say you want to plan a thorough from hand to hand event where you have to showcase everything, why you don't know the knowledge level of those who will be joining, right? You don't know that, and then you have to put into accounts the time. So often in labs, you need to like prepare some things beforehand. Like for instance, let's say I want to do this, then I need to like first go and create a visual machine. I'll create like a visual machine, for instance, or create a log analytics workspace and keep it. Because let's say I want to deploy something now, from creation to deployment will take me like 15 minutes deploying. The thing is in looping, deploying, 15 minutes waiting, for instance. Let's say I want to create a visual machine now, right? We need a visual machine or a storage account for this lab because we need to put the log monitor in it. It will take like 10, 15 minutes. If you add all those things, deploying all these things live, you have already lost like 30 minutes, and then there's a lag time in between. Say for instance, okay, let me deploy a visual machine. You see the time it will take from deployment to creation. You understand, but you do understand my point? Yeah.
Yes, I do. I understand it.
Let me say, okay, let me deploy create a visual machine, and you see the time it will take from creation to deployment. Let me quickly do this to show you. So let's say UG VM region, okay, availability zone, okay, availability zone, self-select. Okay, I'll do zone 1, else, username, okay, username, password. I want to use a password to authenticate. Also, okay, password. It's a password for the VM password, and then I'll provide username, password. Okay. 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 Disk. Okay. Let me not go to update. Let's go through disk. If we need to add anything on the disk, I'll skip this part. Okay, let's click on review and create. First, it will validate. It's on validation now, and then it will come back to validate it to see all my input if it's correct, and then I will click create. So I don't know, like if you have already like what do you call it, digital events, right? Or if you go like a live event, like live event or Microsoft event, for instance, the presenter will prepare some things beforehand. I skipped beforehand before the event I'm creating. We need a vision network. Okay, so UG, VM, VNet. Somebody asked a question. Address space. No, not address space yet. Okay, let's. Okay, let's review and create to solve this error. Got it. Somebody posted a question. Will you speak? Would you like to speak with you after this, please? Okay. Okay. So you can see now the time is taking us to create just a vision, to validate a vision machine. Talk less of it creating the vision machine. After this validation, it will not ask me create. It's a validate. It will not ask if this is returned successfully. It will not ask me create it. I still have to click on the create button to create it. And the creation will now, that's the real deployment, will take like 10 to 15 minutes. And it is based on, you know why it's like that? Because of you are deploying to a data center. That's why it's often you deploy a resource based on the nearest data center close to you. So you could see now, the validation has been passed. You can see validation passed. Can you see it?
Yes.
Now, we have not created a vision machine yet. Now we have to create, click on create. It will now start to create a visual machine. So, so so it's not creating, deployments in progress. You can see the time it will take to create this, to deploy it. So if you are in a live event, a digital event, a visual digital event, it's boring, right? It's boring. There's a lag time, there's a lag time. I need to like keep talking, to engage with you guys and stuff like that to make it interactive. Well, we're lucky today that the deployment went fast. So we go to resource. So the visual machine has been deployed. Let's see, go on the monitoring. So on the monitors now, what you see from the Microsoft lab. So in a nutshell, let me show you the lab of today. So just under the visual machine, we go to logs. We need to now enable, say for instance, first, this is a fresh visual machine. So we configure like a log. So we can say map that this letter with Azure Monitor is intended to put structured data about the resource being deployed and monitored. So let's enable. I have an error. Having difficulties enabling Azure monitors for VM. What's the issue? Can't enable VM inside on a machine. Why? When you onboard an Azure Visual Machine, the full arc will occur. A default log and it is created if you selected that option. Okay. Why creating the visual machine? We didn't choose an option to enable the creation of the log analytics edge log analytics workspace. Let's see. Good. Monitoring configuration. So let's enable the monitoring configuration. So if you could see on the slide, this slide. on the lab. Go on this lab. On the lab. So the lab task 4 mentioned the diagnosis settings and monitoring configuration functionality. So that's what we are trying to achieve here. So here, data collection rule. So the data collection rule is this: on default workspace, guest performance is enabled. Log-oriented workspace, this is going to work, the log-oriented workspace to be used. And then we configure it. It's been provisioned. The deployment is in progress. Okay, let's see. You could see it's being deployed. It's been deployed. Back to the slide. Okay. International accounts. And deployment is in progress. So the AWS event you're talking about, is it the one done the community the one done in Lagos live or digital?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to Imafu.
Okay.
I'm talking to you, Wisdom. Yes, you said that in the AWS event they do all they show everything.
You know that they too they have group like Azure like this too.
Yes, I know. The
Yes,
community there, right?
the community, yes. Although the one that I did with them before I now specialize on Azure,
Yeah.
it was Cloud Foundation, in which I used that one to write the exam, do everything, and then we move on to DevOps, AWS DevOps. But later, when I now change company, and then my company now they specialize on Azure, so I don't have any option than to come back, so that I will not be doing two things or many things at a time. But my point is this: like for that AWS, they do give us like maybe what we do for the next 6 months, like a timetable. That okay, this week this is what we will do, next week this is what we will do. We will go we need to go ahead of the presenter, and then when we now come back, we do meet at night, 7 to 10 p.m. at night for the people that are working then. So when we now come, we will practicalize all the practical aspect of it after the theoretical part, and then we will move on. But since I joined the Azure group, but I really understand that if we say that we should be doing it during the training like this, it will be too boring. I really understand. Even though yes, before deployment, and then sometimes even though the network, although you may not be experiencing the bad network in your country, you know our country now.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but my suggestion, but just look at the way you can make it more practical this thing
Yes.
than theory. Yes, and
Exactly.
then
Yeah. It's a mix of theory and practical. So like when you joined, I've already configured a log analytics, right? So also because last week I deployed a visual machine live.
yeah,
So
yeah,
if you have that knowledge and taking that knowledge to this one means that uh, this step now we are doing, we will skip it. Deploying a vision mesh, we will already skipped it. So that knowledge will already helped you. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. From a provision vision machine, I will go under logs, under monitoring, under logs, and I provision a log analytics. But it's not a problem if that's what helps you, right? I mean, to me, I need to feel something by my hand in order to learn it. When somebody like show me something, I'm just looking at it, listening, observing. But when I actually learn, that is when I do it myself
yes.
and feel it and make mistakes. And that's the best way to learn IT or coding, right? Yeah. So like the log analytics is still deploying. Can you imagine? So it's already 5 minutes ago, for instance. So Azure community, we are self-funded. The AWS thing you talked about is a program, it's not an event. An event is maximum 1 hour, 30 minutes. After that, everybody's tired. We are self-funded. I'm doing it on my own time. Microsoft is not giving me anything. The one
Oh,
what you mentioned, AWS is funding it. Everybody's
oh,
happy.
okay. I see.
Everybody's happy.
Is it a
Yeah,
paid that
yeah.
AWS? Is it a paid event they are doing there?
AWS sponsored it. AWS pay them now. Pay them.
But
Wow.
they
Wow.
are doing it free for people.
Yeah. So
Eh,
AWS pay them to give you the
I think I
time,
understand what he's trying
organize
to
it.
say.
Yeah.
He said AWS sponsor the program.
Yes.
People are coming in to learn for
yes.
free.
Oh,
So I'm an MVP. The MVP award means that okay, you CJ, we give you this award because you take out your time on your free day, on your Saturday, to sit down, plan this event, and give this time freely to me and to you, to Wisdom, to Sunday, to you, Oyemafe, to Atman, freely, and provide you things freely. Right?
mm,
So, in my free will gesture, I will do it on my own, how it will fit me
I
and you. At the
I
same time,
CJ,
I don't burn my weekend, or you know.
I CJ, I CJ.
Yes, yes, that one.
Yeah. So on my own part, I know I can provision VM and I can do one or two things there because at least I have privilege to be doing that in my previous place of work. So, but since I left, I don't have access to tenant and all, so I can be probably still doing the practical and probably get myself improved on it. So, how do I go about it to like have a tenant, a lab, to continue with this? That has been my
Use
challenge.
Microsoft have this. If you go under Azure documentation, they have this free sandbox you could spin up to create
Okay.
something there.
Okay.
I can look for the link. I don't. I have the link, but I'll look for it and I'll share it on the chart.
and then another problem that we have in the country right now, maybe since Buhari regime, we cannot pay for our
Yes,
Microsoft.
yes,
So
yes,
our ATM, everything
yeah,
is not paying internationally anymore. That's another
yes.
issue. Even though my two subscription, I cannot renew it.
Wow.
I cannot. But because I just have a privilege of working in a company that they provision some
Sandbox.
Azure box for us. But
Yeah,
you know, there is a limit we can go.
exactly.
And
True.
then if you go beyond where
Yeah.
where this thing,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
before
yeah,
you
yeah.
know it, HR will give you warning
Very.
letter that what are you doing? So
Well, that's
so
true, yeah.
that is the problem. But like if you don't have an account before for those people that are just joining us,
Mm.
if you don't have an account before, and then if you are still a student, you can use your student email. That was where I started from.
Mm.
You can use your student email address to register, although they will ask for I don't think they will ask for card number. I don't think so. But if you are still a student, then you have a student email, you can use it to register, and then they will give you $200 free voucher, and then you
Voucher,
can
yeah.
do all those things there
Mm.
freely. So that's another way we can still practice too.
Yeah, yeah. I'm using MVP as an Microsoft MVP. You get each month maximum 200 euros or $200 if you're in America. I'm in a euro country. So you could see this month already, I've already burned down to this 134.13 cents. So everything has a limit, right? So if I use this to train or to do lab and stuff, it's finished. Microsoft will not give you another one. I just have to use my credit card, right?
Mm.
So, and you can see it's 11 minutes ago, and the log analytic is still being deployed. So, um, so yeah, like what he mentioned, the student credit is available. You could use before Microsoft used to give us women MVPs to give to students Azure Pass, but they stopped that. Uh, they are cutting costs here and there, and they know because they know that Azure is a brand. Everybody wants to be in Azure. So you, as a learner, you have to chip in your own way to acquire knowledge. Nothing goes for nothing. Like Udemy, the good courses. If you want to learn something good, in Udemy, there's everything is paid. You have to pay for it, or you go use YouTube, right? So, so that so that's the thing there. But I will try next. I will try because there's a lot of time, hours spent in preparing, given an event, in preparing an event. So like these slides, I had to review it, all this kind of thing, create it, review it, try things out a day before today to make it successful and stuff like that, you know. So and that's what it is, right? So I'm having fun and I'm happy that you guys are here to acquire knowledge and so that's something I do freely. If you wake me up anytime, I will always have time to pass on knowledge freely. You don't need to pay me anything for that. And that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
But the what do you call it? So so while we give this information, like Microsoft, if you go to Microsoft event and stuff, they'll give you the PowerPoint slide as well as will give you the instruction on how to do the lab on your own. So because knowledge is passed on easily when you feel the thing yourself, not just looking at it. If you have now errors you encounter, you can always ping me on WhatsApp or in this. Say, okay, hey, this is I have this issue here, and then I can help you with it, right? Let me quickly go back to the slides. Like for the first what do you call it? Or Yimafu asked a question and he missed out. So let me quickly go to the slides. Interesting points. Okay, let's see. Okay, I've already provisioned a log analytics. Sorry, the log analytics is still being provisioned inside the Vision machine. So that's what we saw that is still on deployment. So this is the process of creating it. You indicate a subscription, indicate a name, and the region where this log analytic workspace will be provisioned. Then you look at what you want to monitor. So the visual machine is an application, right? So what do we want to monitor? So I want to say, let's say, for instance, under all queries, for instance, I want to like, you can select a query packs. So query packs are like criteria you want to query on or you want to data from. So you can query, for instance, an application. I want to query the visual machine. So you could say request duration over last 12 hours. So I want to understand what happened on this visual machine the last 12 hours. So that could include who spinned up the visual machine, who fired it up, who downloaded something in it, or who deployed anything inside the visual machine. So from identity access management, who accessed it, from where, also what is the outback of the person, the role-based access control of the person, and what did the person do in that visual machine? Did he deploy anything? Did he add a VNet to it? Did he add a VNet route to it? Or did he deploy a firewall inside the visual machine? Something like that. Now, you also want, okay, I want to audit it. And you click audit, you see audit criteria you want to query. Or say you want database. The database, say database that is coupled with the visual machine, for instance. And now such information you could retrieve it and consolidate the data in a repository in which you use later. Likewise, this search, you could make it automated. So that's where you have the workspace, the log analytic workspace. You automate it to run without you doing it manually. And the information, the logs or metrics, you could easily export it to Power BI or Excel or Salesforce for dashboarding purposes. So queries, so this is the Crystal query language, KQL. So in Windows OS, we use the agent Windows event logs. In Linux, it's called syslogs. So the event is in the case of Linux, it's a syslog, and then you specify, okay, you want to look at errors, for instance, or severity level. And then under the heartbeat, so the agents, so the configuration, the monitor agent configuration inside the visual machine does the heartbeat. It collects information. It's like it pings, you give a ping and a handshake on the visual machine, what is going there, and then it sends information back, kind of a handshake. And then when the handshake is done, there's an information pass collected. And then under that, you could now use your alert. You want alerts on the visual machine. So which alert do you want to collect? Okay, the alert could be like what I mentioned. You want like, for instance, information about the application, say a web app, a web app that runs on the visual machine, how many visitors on the web app, what did they do, which page did they visit, for instance. Or you need information about the database itself. And you could also do this using the Query Explorer within Azure environment. So back to the lab. So this is a lab. So you provision the environment, your lab environment, task one. So the task one is like, okay, you set up you create a resource group, and within the resource group, so in the resource group, this is the name, and you create a VNet. and a subnet. And then task 2, you use the Cloud Shell. So use the Cloud Shell to provision, to do the command. Task 3, task 2, you use the Cloud Shell to create and configure the Azure Log Analytical space, and then the Azure Automation based on accounts. Then, which is task 3, inside the resource group. So, and then task 4 is configure the Azure Visual Machine diagnostic settings. And task 5 is review the Azure Monitor functionality. So Azure Monitor functionality is just what I've showed you. And this is a functionality. So functionalities could be, you want to collect metrics, you want to collect activity logs, or you need to collect diagnostic logs information. So these are functionalities, insights about the application, so contain our visual machine, metrics and logs under a storage accounts. You want information about the application, the operating system, the Azure resource itself, information about the Azure subscription, where the Azure resource is living, or information about the Azure tenant. So you can also customize your own criteria you want to collect information on. Also, we talked about alert rules, Azure alerts, Azure Monitor alerts, how to create alert rules. So alerts, for instance, could be, like I mentioned, you want to ensure uptime. You want to collect information. Say, for instance, if the machine fails, just it's not performing at all, or it's down, you want information to be sent to you. You want alert to be collected, and based on a severity level from 0 to 4. So 0 being critical, red, and you collect the information. And you can also, and this is how to create alert rules. So you describe a scope, so the target selection, alert criteria, alert logic, also then alert rule details, so the name, description, as well as severity of the alert. So the action group is now, how do you communicate? How do you want people to know, or how do you want to know about this alert? You could either be to notify your team via email, text message, or automation account using webhooks or runbooks. So the webhook could be to get a notification on your team, Microsoft Teams group channel account. So information will be sent from Azure to your teams, your group teams accounts, and then everybody knows about what happened. Also, it could also be, for instance, if there's a overutilization or underutilization of a visual machine. Say you have provisioned a visual machine, and because you provision the money is already, whether you're using it or not, you're already paying for it. So that's why cloud is expensive. You could give an alert that, okay, if this visual machine is not being used, you need to be notified. That's an alert. And then how do you know this alert? Through your email or through a text message sent to you or your team account. So this is how to create action group. So you could use if email or SMS or push or voice. So and the method could be configure the method in which action groups are performed with the trigger. So you can use like automation rumble, or you can use Azure accounts, Azure function, or ITCM. The ITSM is like a IT monitoring environment. You can use a Logic app or secure webhook. So this is basically what we looked at today. If there's another question, I think, let's say if there is an interesting topic you guys want to learn, that way I would plan it ahead. I think at the end of the day, I want you guys to learn and to impact knowledge. You come from, say, okay, you guys, okay, CJ, I would want to learn this. I want you to give us a tutorial or lab on how to learn. I'll know in advance. Then I will tailor-made my monthly event to that to capture you what you guys want to learn, and it's a kind of a win-win for everybody. So wisdom, Oluwa, we call it Oyimafu. The hand is up.
Okay, sir. So thank you very much for that quick recap.
Okay.
You really did a good job, and I've picked a lot of things from the recap. So I like the way you are focusing on cloud infrastructure because
Yeah.
you started with virtual machine,
Yes.
and on virtual machine now we are into monitoring.
Yes.
So another topic I would like us to do is maybe we can go deeper into the cloud infrastructure by going into container instances and Kubernetes, something like that. Maybe we
Okay.
can just get our hands dirty on
Okay.
that
Sure.
trust.
Yeah, that's really a nice tool. And I mean, no youth now is doesn't know the cloud or Azure or AWS. So yeah, I will look into that and then plan a section on that coming next month. This event is my last for this month. So let's say next month I will do something on Kubernetes. So looking at it from beginner to intermediate and then to advanced level. Okay. Any other question or any other thing somebody wants to learn I should prepare on?
I think maybe by next week, I will let you know.
Okay, that'll be nice. Sure.
Although this is a good job. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure. Okay, guys. So I would in planning next meetings on Microsoft Teams, I will be using Dutch time to plan it, and then I'll put GMT +1 or GMT +2. Then you guys will know this is not a Nigerian time, it's Dutch time or European time, CET, CEST, or something like that. Then that confusion will not happen. That problem will not happen again. Okay, guys, it's a pleasure having you guys today, and I hope you enjoy your Saturday.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
No worries. Take care. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Ciao. Bye. So the recording will be here later. You'll see it here later. I'll stop recording now. I'll share the PowerPoint slide. Bye. Ciao.